Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to another episode of Intuitive Creators Spotlight. I am Stella, your host, and I invite my beautiful guests here to share their stories with all of us because every story is inspiring and every story has so much wisdom that comes with it. Today, I have here with me Dominika. She is a divine creator whose multidimensional art is not just about how it looks, it's also about transformation, healing, and connection to higher consciousness. Hi, Dominika, welcome to this video.
Hi, Stella. So good to be with you again.
Yes, I'm always happy to have conversations with you because they just take us to different dimensions all the time. And I'm so super excited to open up conversations about what you do, your passion, your story. So, I know that your work speaks of birthing realities and opening portals through your art. Can you describe how it feels like for you to channel these energies? And when do you know a piece is complete?
So it's a very good question. How does it feel like? Because for most of my life, before I find out what I'm actually doing, it felt very normal. It felt very casual, I would say. Uh, and on top of that, I felt that every single artist has this ability. But then, as you know, I could no longer ignore the fact that my art has been creating my own realities. The paintings have been manifesting very profound events in my life. And around 8 years ago, when my awakening started, I started to search for more information on what is actually happening. And now I know that I am bringing those prophecies and those holograms for new realities directly from the source. But it took me a while to get through that corridor when I was gathering the pieces of the knowledge of who I am, what I do, what the role of the paintings have here on planet Earth. So how does it feel right now? I think I wouldn't be able to find the words to describe in human words how profound this work truly is, especially when you are also shifting into higher consciousness and into higher awareness, and you are being present with those paintings and you can see them in a multidimensional way. So the way you see them, it's like a corridor of lights, a corridor of shapes, a corridor of sacred geometry, bold colors, and you have those figures, those women that I paint that are the goddesses, literally the masters that are coming through those portals. That's how I see them. So it's very surreal, probably for many people, but that's how I see them. Especially during the last month, I had the opportunity to step to much higher consciousness, and I was shown the multidimensional way of seeing my paintings, where they were no longer flat. They were in the whole room. They were spread in a whole room. So it was beautiful.
How do you know when a painting is complete? Like when you have to put your brush down?
Mm, that's also a good question. You never know. Uh, I think the trick here is to not overdo a painting,
Mm.
which comes from energy of lack and some form of neediness for perfection. It's the kind of feeling inside that you look at the painting and you just know it's done. But then again, sometimes I will have paintings that I have to stop to paint for 2 years because the next layer of activation for the portal will be ready in our human time in 2 years, wherefore normally there is no time. And then I need to apply the second version. So then the painting may be finished in a few years' time, but that doesn't happen often. But when it comes to an actual piece, like you just know it's done. You just know it's over and it's ready for the display. But even in those cases, I think I had maybe two paintings in my whole career when suddenly the spirit came and they said to take off the painting from the wall and actually apply, I don't know, sometimes codes, sometimes some symbols, sometimes change the background. So it's very much not in my control what is happening in those paintings. But when it comes to like, just to feel like whether the portrait, channeled portrait is that, you just know it. You just know it. And then you just put the signature. You just know it's done. It's perfect.
Mhm. Your pictures, your art is just breathtaking. And I remember having conversations with you years ago and saying how fascinating your art is. And then you would share that it just, for some of those pieces, it took you a few minutes because, you just are there and painting them. To someone who doesn't do this kind of work, it absolutely is surreal. And to me, it looked like a painting that took you 1 year to create. And would you say that this is happening, I mean, painting so fast in this existence because you're able to go into that higher consciousness? Or how would you describe that space where you
Mm,
go and connect with these images?
well, it's not a few minutes, but few hours. Few minutes. It didn't get that fast yet.
Maybe
Um,
hours, yeah, but still for me it was like, oh my God, how did you?
yeah,
Still,
because
like,
they
it's
were big
very fast.
pieces. Yeah. So I think it all depends on the level of surrender.
Mm,
Because when I'm going into that space, I feel so comfortable there and I have so much trust that I honestly don't have to think. So what happens is my subconscious, my conscious, my awareness, like human awareness, is bypassed completely. And then I'm just allowing my hands to be taken over by the divine masculine within me. So it's my feminine and masculine in a perfect union when I'm creating, which is the God frequency, when you are accessing the oneness consciousness. Um, and it's really fast because I'm not resisting. And the fastness is also some form of illusion. Is the
mm,
perception of seeing how, through your physical eyes how fast it's happening. And time is an illusion, as you know. But the easiness, I would say, the easiness and effortless way of creating the artwork depends on the level of the surrender. So if my heart space is fully open and I am in, allowing the masculine to fully step in to move my body, move my hands the way it needs to be moved to create and birth a baby in the form of a of a portrait, then it's effortless and it's happening really fast because I'm not interfering with my thoughts. Like, is this color right? Is this shape right? Is this brush stroke right? No, there's no thinking at all. There's just full trust. There is no need for thinking at all.
mm.
It's completely unnecessary.
Wow, this is fascinating. And I love that you explained what this depends on the level of surrendering because we had a conversation earlier talking about the human existence and what happens at a soul level and about like the importance of like being aware that both of these things are happening. And I love how you're describing how the divine masculine has to help you or be there with you as you're creating this beautiful art. Now, when you create these paintings, do you know when a painting is for you or when it's for someone else?
Like for the collective.
Yes, or for a client, for example, maybe some of them will be bought by other people. Do you know when it has to be for your home and not to be sold? Or
Oh,
if you
this way.
have if you have
Hmm.
paintings like that, or do you know when a particular piece of art is for someone?
Well, first I would take out any form of separation, like me and somebody else. The
Mm,
painting for everyone, and it will manifest itself in an exactly perfect way, in an exactly perfect time for me, because the painting is an extension of me. It's not separate from me. And
mm,
then if someone is acquiring this specific painting, it will manifest itself accordingly to their quantum fabric, to their soul. So I will of course I have paintings that were not commissions, which I called commissioned, which I called originals, and they all are my extension, where there is no times and everything already happened. So they are speaking of stories, from all that I am, and I am all. So they will manifest for me in my way. But then if someone will come and buy this painting, as I said, they will manifest themselves for the client in their way, when the molecules of the paintings are interacting with their Akashic records, with
Mm.
their energy and everything that needs to manifest for healing. But then also, of course, I have commissioned portraits. So this is a slightly different story, because when the clients that are coming and commissioning the channeled highest potential timeline hologram portraits. So basically what they're asking me to do is to bring down and place on the canvas the quantum fabric of their highest potential timeline. So
Wow.
I'm connecting to the source and I am downloading their greatest, potential in this multidimensional way. And then what happens, and it was actually even described by the quantum physics pioneer Marina Jacobi in New York, what happens is that the potency of the painting, because it doesn't have a energy from planet Earth, she said it's a pure energy of source, has such a high potency to manifest that when a client receives this hologram, not a decoration, but a hologram, the molecules of the portrait that was channeled and received from God, they start to interact with the molecules of my client. And you know that molecules, they will try to mimic themselves. So the higher potential molecule will start now triggering your current molecules to go through some form of change and transformation so they can become the match. So that's how the portraits are working. But the clients who are coming to me and are commissioning their portraits, I'm just looking at the pile of portraits here on my left side that I'm working on right now. Um, uh, they um, they always come as my mirror too. We always find ourselves, as one. So when I have a client who, for example, recently, so the way it works when I'm channeling the portrait is that if client has a resistance, I will feel the resistance too. If client has a problem with the throat chakra, I will feel it too. So I'm like becoming one, a one with the painting and with the client. So then we are working through those resistances through normal session. We're connecting on Zoom, and the painting is helping to shift certain, distortions. Like, for example, the last client had a really little trust in the masculine, and because of the lack of the trust for masculine, my masculine was resisting the creation because he couldn't fully step in to
Wow.
start, channeling with me. So we had to work through certain things. It always happens, with every client, because those paintings are being made for the healing purposes as well. But it always works as one. So the clients who are coming are my mirrors, and then when I'm creating, I feel everything inside of my body. And my feminine and my masculine, they're, showing me, okay, she's not feeling the feminine, she's not connected to the womb space, she's in her head space, she's not seeing herself, so I can't paint the eye, something's coming off the eye. So the painting speaks, it's all living consciousness. It's beautiful.
This is fascinating. Thank you for sharing this. I'm sure those beautiful souls who are watching us will appreciate you explaining it in this way. And you mentioned something about it's not a decoration, it's a hologram. How can somebody differentiate between the idea of having a piece of decoration in their house and a hologram?
So you in a very simple way. I mean, I use this phrase because that's what Marina Jacobi said. Forget that you are creating decorations for the wall. They're not decorations. They are living consciousnesses. They're living holograms. But the difference is this, that when you go to a gallery and you buy a portrait, um, or a painting or a piece of art, you put it on a wall and usually it stays there. And you either put your attention on it because you love it, you really, really resonated, and it definitely resonates with your soul because it also speaks something about you. With the holograms, because they are, and trust me, I didn't plan on that. I came with this, right? It's not like a commercial ad that this is what I decided to do. No, it, it happened very naturally for me. So what they usually do, they will choose the place where they want to be hanged in your house, and the place will be chosen usually through this kind of experience that you may think, okay, I commissioned a portrait, highest potential timeline, and I have just perfect place in my home where I'm gonna put it. And you come and you put the painting on the wall where you decided to have the painting, and you suddenly start to feel a discomfort that something is off. Okay. Because she or he will choose the room, the specific room in your house where she wants to be hanged. Why? Because the specific room in your house is specifically aligned to a specific aspect of you where she wants to work. So if she will choose, I'm saying she, but it can be he, she will choose to hang in a living room. That's your throne. This is your throne room. This is your power room. So she will be healing certain aspects that are related to your inner power, maybe solar plexus, maybe your crown. It has a lot to do of the embodiment of the divine feminine, your womb space. If she will decide to move to your bedroom, she may be healing your sexuality, sensuality, and intimate connection to yourself. You will know. And the moment when she's ready to move, she will change a position. Or when she's ready to manifest something like healing, she's changing position always. Like, see this small one there? There is a portrait of Mother Sophia, um, the feminine aspect of God. And when she's changing, she's shifting on the wall, that's when I know that there is an embodiment, that there is a shift coming, that there is a message coming. They always speak through movement. They are letting me know we have accomplished, we have created a form of language that I know that the consciousness of my paintings are communicating to me as one. And that's when we know that there is a manifestation coming in. Or sometimes they will drop like a slide into my conscious in mind in the third eye. And that's when I know, okay, this slide, this hologram is about to manifest in my life. That's how it works.
This is fascinating, truly. It is truly incredible to learn about these things and to understand and just to confirm to ourselves again and again that the reality we live in is not just a static thing. Things are moving and we can connect with everything that is around us. And especially, like you described, the difference between a piece of decoration and a hologram. It is clear then that when you have something that has been created at this beautiful level, there are so many shifts that are happening too. To those of beautiful souls who are watching us, if they're new to you, I just want to ask you, have you studied these techniques, these beautiful ways of painting, or was this always your passion and you wanted to discover it on your own?
Well, I always loved to draw. And I remember as a little girl, I was constantly drawing one image, and it was a house with a path that was leading to the house. Next to the house, there was a fence, and on a fence, there was a black cat sitting.
Oh,
And I remember feeling very frustrated because I didn't know how to paint heaven, the sky. And I could not get through it until one day I had a light bulb moment. And I went through this very powerful self-realization process that heaven is just a zigzag. And when I draw that on this piece of paper, it made such a perfect sense that the zigzag, the energetic zigzag is heaven.
wow.
And I wouldn't see it in the form of clouds, like kids drew the clouds, but I knew that this is the most perfect heaven, the most spot on image of heaven that I finally, placed on a piece of paper. And now Now I know that the house, you know, was a symbol of what I came here to do. So everyone calls me D.O.M, and D.O.M in English is house, home. It's a home. And the D.O.M, which was the signature for all the paintings, as you know, is Dio Optimo Maximo, which is the greatest God. And the Black Panther on the on the
Yeah.
pants was always my spirit animal. And the path home is, you know, what I do now, you know, helping people to find the path home. Um, so I always drew, and I was very fortunate because I also had artists in my family. And I always wanted to go to the High School of Art, which I did. And then but during the High School of Art, I was told on many, many occasions that I should not paint. Um,
Right?
they told me that my paintings are full of poetry rather than actual technical talent.
Oh,
And I was encouraged to do sculpting, which I also did. I did beautiful wooden sculptures or sculptures out of clay, and graphics. When you were a teenager, you listened to your tutors, to your teachers, you
yeah.
believed them. But then something happened when I was 19 and I was about to attempt my final exams in a high school of art. And they told us to pick one faculty that we would like to choose as our master faculty. And I decided to do a painting. And in fact, I decided to do a huge painting. And no one could stop me. And no one could stop me. And I did a painting of myself, self-portrait, as I am standing in the middle of the studio and I'm shifting reality. And I painted shifted reality around me. And at that time, I was 19. I didn't have any knowledge, Stella, but that was a painting that was about to manifest in a but different timeline about shifting realities. And I got the highest grades. But,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
the speculations were that I went crazy, that it is a kitsch, it's going to be a kitsch, it's going to fail. But I listened to the call in my heart, and I did this. And then I went to the Academy of Fine Arts after that, but still I haven't chosen to study painting because I still had that kind of in the back of my head, you know, that I will never be a painting artist. And I never planned to be. I never wanted to be. Those paintings, they were rather jumping out from under my brush, you know, very accidentally with great ease. And because I was so criticized in my high school, I learned to create at home when no one was watching. But then when I would take those paintings into the public eye, like, I don't know, some restaurant or something like that, the paintings were selling like that. You know, there was suddenly, people around the painting and they would feel the energy and they would just buy it. And that's what also happened when I went to study high school as the Academy of Fine Arts. I was creating mainly at home. Then I had this accident. I broke my leg and I couldn't walk, so I created even more. And my then boss, the manager of the coffee shop where I was working, she encouraged me to do an exhibition out
Mhm.
of those paintings, a proper exhibition, and we did it, and it was a blow up because everything just sold out within first hour. And that's how it all started. So I did study, but then when I was on a third year in my Academy of Fine Arts, I was called to the office and I was told that the money I started to make by on selling my artwork should be given to the school.
Oh,
And I disagreed. And when I disagreed, there was an argument between me and my main tutor, and I left the academy. So I never left, I never finished the Academy of Fine Arts. But when I lost my job, I don't know, in 2013, and I decided to become a full-time artist, I finished my academy in my garden shed, you know, creating every single night, you know, making the biggest progress in my artistic career ever, you know,
mm,
winning a lot of competitions, gaining the recognition and um, being awarded by the royal family. Madonna, you know, acquired one of the paintings. But I think the most important part of this work that I did in the garden shed was that I finally got to the bottom of what is happening on the spiritual level. And that was the cherry on the top of the cake.
And how powerful you are, and how magical that you had those key moments. That moment when you were 19 and you decided, you know what, I'm just gonna paint that big painting. And then when that manager allowed you to do that exhibition, because that showed you how much appreciation other people have of your work, even if there can be so many that would say, hey, this is not working and stuff. And you know, it's just when you experience these kind of moments of connection between you, your art, and other people who come to experience your talent and gift, those are such precious moments, aren't they? When you just know that we are so connected with each other and everything around us. And the fact that big celebrities have
Mm.
your pieces of art, this is super magical. Can you remember a memorable moment when somebody maybe bought your piece of art, or they commissioned it and you created it for them? And can you remember somebody's reaction that really surprised you, or it's just a moment that's memorable for you in terms of their reaction to your work?
I mean, every reaction is always a great reaction. But um, I think the most surprising was actually the one that I did for Madonna,
Mm.
because I was so stressed when I was creating her. I was really, really stressed, and I approached the creation a little bit from my head because I wanted to be really, really good and perfect. And as I attempted to create it from my head, instead of allowing, the full surrender, I started to paint her as the usual blonde woman, not, the pop art in a pop artistic way, my ways. It was still my way, but as a blonde woman, and I just couldn't get through it. And I was becoming agitated and frustrated and angry, and I knew that something is not right. So when I eventually surrendered, I created her portrait in a black hair. And I
Wow.
was I was shocked because I thought, I mean, oh my God, what is she going to think? She's gonna see herself in a black hair. But you just can't stop this process, Stella. It's just so strong. You can't go against it. It's like a hypnosis. The hand will not do it. When you feel when the hand is doing something from the head and it's just not working. And when I did this black hair, I knew this is it, but my head was going like, did you go? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? But I decided to leave it this way. And then I had to, of course, send images of the portrait to her assistant. And the funny thing was that, I was prepared for everything. I was just prepared for everything, and I just decided I do not care anymore. And the email that I received was that the Madonna seen it and she absolutely loves it and she wants it in her New York apartment. But the most funny thing was that I think 2 years later, she did her new album called Madame X, and
Wow.
she's sitting on the cover in a black hair. And I knew then that, the painting was simply speaking about her own shift, in the external image, and the Madame X was her internal, the biggest shift she went through as a woman, I think, and on a career level, because she moved to Lisbon and she created this very kind of with this Hispanic, vibe new album that speaks a lot about the truth, what is happening in the world. She was always very controversial, but this album specifically speaks about Madame X, that is very controversial and speaks about the truth and the corruptions around the world and things like that. I'm not sure if you ever heard this album, but you know, she sits, you know, on this cover of this album in this wavy black hair, just, you know, like I painted her. And I was like, wow, you know, this is truly just beautiful. Always surrender, just always surrender for the best results.
And it was very prophetic, because
Yeah.
you basically tuned into what was going to happen in her career, on her path. And this is amazing because, you know, she clearly she trusted her intuition to have a piece of art from you. And I feel that when you go to somebody for any kind of art service, there has to be this level of trust, you know, that I'm going to work with this person and I trust that the kind of work that will happen will be meant for, you know, my next step or for my journey or for that person's journey. And I just love how we find each other when we need the most. And clearly she needed you and she needed your piece of art for her own evolution or to reflect her growth. So I know that you are helping so many people align with this beautiful level of their growth, their progress in life. What is something that you do to help yourself progress and be aligned with this beautiful consciousness
I spend time with Jesus.
every day?
Yeah, well, we basically speak to each other like all the time. And I don't perceive him as a religious figure. I perceive him as my biggest friend who is existing in a different now timeline. So he's my biggest rock. Yeah,
Thank you.
that's what
Thank you. Thank you for sharing because I can feel your heart and I can feel your emotion as you're talking about it. And it's so beautiful to allow yourself to have these kind of connections with the
happened.
spiritual realm and to trust that
Yeah.
those
I mean,
connections
we
are.
do have all those beautiful connections, haven't we? But they are, you know, those special ones. Like uh, one of my other special connection is with Hathor. So I work a lot with Hathor. I believe that she was my great grandmother. I seen her in my plant medicine journey, and she's just coming very often to me. We are writing a book right now on abundance, money, and sacred sexuality, which is written by Hathor while I'm channeling her, and she's helping me to lead the temple, the etheric temple for the divine feminine. She wants the temples to be rebirthed, the ancient temples for the divine feminine. So she's helping a lot. But yeah, the connection that is, you know, the rock connection that also, you know, triggers me a lot, and you know, triggers me because of the growth that I need is with Yeshua, definitely.
Thank you so, so much. Thank you so much, Dom, for being here today with us. Is there
So
anything you
much.
wanted to share with everybody who's watching us? And by the way, if you're watching this episode, check out the description of this episode to see how you can connect with Dominika, with her art, with her work. She is absolutely incredible. And every piece of work that I've seen on her pages, on her website, is absolutely breathtaking. And every piece has some really powerful energy with it. And as we're wrapping up this episode, is there anything you want to share as a last message, a last thought with everyone who's watching?
No, I think the last thing that I would like to say to absolutely everyone is that um, even though I came here with the gift of, you know, artistic creation, it is just a symbol. It's a symbol of the overall creation that we all have within us. So the message that I would like to send to everyone is to kill the logic, um, and allow yourself to really burn down the walls of limitations and open into the impossible, to the miracles. Open yourself up to this connection to the source that you also can have when you step out from your mental space. I think that this world became so codependent and so sad. And of course, we are going through the collective awakening, but I can strongly, very strongly feel through the collective that, you know, there's so much codependency on the external, the material world, where we are trying, and a lot of people is trying to, you know, fill the void inside of them, where, you know, what truly is the healthiest aspect, the healthiest version of us is the wholeness, you know, that we don't really need anything, and we can command the external, and the external will never be a perfect match to the greatness of who we truly are. So I would like to encourage everyone to become this sovereign creator in a form of using your mind as an empty blank canvas without any fear and limitations, knowing that whatever you create will manifest. So take control over that canvas and just paint a beautiful painting for your life.
Thank you. Thank you so, so much. This is a beautiful message. And thank you to everyone who's watching us. If
Thank
you're
you.
new
Thank you
to
for
our
having me.
Oh, thank you, thank you. If you're new to us and to our channel, please subscribe, like this video, let us know your thoughts, and check out Dominika's links and social media to connect with her. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Stella.